I'm at Graphing Social Patterns. It's essentially about widgets and Facebook and apps and things like that. I really hate the word social graph, I have to say. Even though everyone thinks it's a newly invented word, it reminds me of the Wella Balsam commercial. And they told two friends, and they told two friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. But anyway, it doesn't stop there from being big old conferences about this. It's a packed room of people wanting to know all about where the social networking space, which has seen a little bit of downturn lately, not surprisingly, is going. We're still in a bubble. As you can see, as I just said, things are still a hop in here, despite the fact that there's been a little downturn in the social networking space because everybody wants to make a widget, or be a widget, or do something with a widget. Another word I don't like too much, but there you have it. I don't get to pick trendy internet words. Don't you think there should be a committee to do that? I think so. All right, we're here with Dave McClure, who's running Graphing Social Patterns. Dave, what the heck does that mean? GSP, baby.
It's all about social networks and social platforms, how to market and develop apps and reach customers on MySpace.
You got quite a crowd here, Dave.
We do. We actually are pretty close to sold out. I think we have over 500 people registered.
So the bloom is not off the rose of this social networking thing as much as I try to break.
Nope, you can try and break it down. It's still coming back. They may not know how to monetize, but
well,
they're
yeah,
learning.
That's one tiny little issue. But let me ask you a question. What do you think about the statistics about people not using them as much and the sort of the trend off of the thing?
I think that Facebook and MySpace are probably very happy that they've got 70 to 100 million users or better logging in daily, and that
we want 100, baby.
You know, you can't really grow much past a couple 100 million in the U.S., so there's going to be a ceiling on that growth at some point.
Right, but they weren't talking like that. They were talking about this as the new.
Well, they are internationalizing, so they're trying to reach out to other audiences that aren't just English speaking. So we'll see how well they do.
And what do you think the big trend it is in that area? I mean, it's kind of changed. Obviously, got a lot of hot hype, and now how does it stay relevant?
I think monetization is how it stays relevant. So I think they need to figure out ways, not just on their platforms, but maybe ways outside their platforms to make social networking and social applications work for traditional advertisers and retailers.
Right. That's a difficult problem they have.
I think so, but I mean, I do think that a lot of the socialization that's happening on the platforms is behavior that can be taken outside the platform.
Sure, that's the hope. Now, what about new widgets and things like that? What do you see coming down the pike?
So LinkedIn is going to be launching soon.
Right.
High Five and Bebo. Bebo's already out. High Five is going to be launching soon. MySpace is in testing. So there's probably 5 to 6, maybe even 7 platforms for developers to choose from.
Right.
Which makes it a great time to be a developer.
And what about interoperability and data portability?
I think probably take a little bit longer. I think that definitely folks who are doing open social compatible platforms, there'll be some level of compatibility. There'll still be container specific stuff that they have to do. So I don't know if it'll be completely transparent, but maybe I would guess maybe in the next couple of years we'll start to see cross-platform apps that are truly standardized.
And you're forcing us to play werewolf tonight. Explain that very briefly.
Werewolf's all about making people, if you're a werewolf, think you're not a werewolf and killing them when they're asleep.
Yeah.
And if you're
I don't know why people think internet people are juvenile. I'm not sure.
Well, yes, because we like to kill people and lynch them when they're not looking.
I'm a professional werewolf, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, you hide your fangs well.
Yes, thank you, Dave.
Except when you're blogging.
Dave, you found me out. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you, Kara. We hope you have a great time.
Great, thanks.
And we're doing GSP East in DC, June 9th
nice
to 11th.
little plug there. Okay, thanks, Dave.
Got it.
Is number 2, but it's paramount to the success of the widget, is figuring out how you're going to get paid for the content that you're serving up. A widget is just an extension of your website. It should be monetized and reported as such. It's a little window into your content, into your experience, your UI, your brand. And so the monetization strategies or the monetization choices that you have should be thought out for you.
Social, and the web itself is becoming social. All these applications are realizing that knowing more about who you are and who you know is this very powerful lens and filter and discovery mechanism. But what you see right now is you have these sort of social networks, which are primarily still walled gardens and have gotten very large. And you have these applications that benefit from knowing who you know, but many of them, if they're external, have a hard time building up that rich information about who you know, right? So even a site like Dig that's very popular, the number of people that I'm connected to that I know who are fellow Dig users is very small, even though lots of people I know actually use the site. It's just that I have a hard time finding them, right? And so we see an increasing number of problems where users are feeling frustrated that they have to re-enter their information over and over again where they go, not only who they are, but who they know, and they're having trouble finding each other. And it's so compelling that people are doing all these sort of halfway measures, like every site seems like now is trying to scrape your Gmail address book and help you look up people, right?
So hackers like big challenges, and they're like edges. So I want to talk about a couple of edges that we're paying attention to now. So one, if you read Make Magazine, you know that we're very interested in open source hardware. How many people here are subscribers to Make or read Make? Okay, well, open source hardware is definitely one of those things. We noticed a few years back, people were starting to not just be engaged with bits, but they were starting to really work with stuff again. And the engagement of computing and stuff is one of the big themes that we're seeing come up again and again. And so that ultimately is the challenge of the hacker. This is a wonderful painting by Delacroix of Jacob wrestling with the angel that hangs in a church in Paris. That moment of wrestling with the angel, of wrestling with the hard problem that may not be able to be solved, and yet it's full of risk, but it's also full of promise. That is what hacking is about. That's what e-tech is about. That's what you are about.